Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is my 2020 year-long makeup empties. I am so excited to be able to dispose of these bad boys. Most of them are recyclable. I will put the monetary amount and the number amount at the end of the video. I'm just going to show you everything that I've finished. This is so exciting for me. I love doing this. I have done it in 2019. I'll link that down below. But if you're interested in just getting into it, then just keep on watching. Okay guys, so here is an overview of the products I finished. I'll go through each individual thing category wise, but I just wanted to show you what it all looked like as a whole. Okay, so I'm already seeing things that I forgot to put in the bloody overview. Great start. So for primers, I finished 2. I was using the Nivea Men Post Shave Sensitive Balm based off of Nikki Tutorial, saying that this thing would increase the longevity of your makeup. There's 100 mils in this. Like, it lasted me nearly 2 years. It's really runny. It is very fragrant, so I know people like wouldn't use that. It was €3 reduced from 6. It's glass, it's huge. It did increase the longevity of my makeup, but I wouldn't bother getting it again. But it did do what it said it was supposed to do. So that's that. And then this one here is just a small MAC Prep and Prime. It is a sample size, 6 mils in it, or 0.2 US fluid ounces. This is in my inventory, that's why that is. It's in Radiant Pink, and I used it by mixing it into my foundation. I wouldn't bother buying this one again either. 2 out of primers and 2 I wouldn't get again. For foundation, I also finished 2. So I finished the It Cosmetics CC Cream in the shade, I think it's in the shade Fair. Yeah, in the shade Fair. I think there's more than 30 mils in this as well. This is a medium coverage foundation with a luminous kind of dewy finish. Definitely not matte, and I wouldn't say it's full, but it's near enough to it. I absolutely loved this foundation, and I would 100,000,000% get it again. And then this foundation here, this is from Revlon. It is in the shade 110 Ivory, which is far too fair for me. Apparently, I'm in the shade Buff. This is 30 mils. It was a full coverage, thick foundation, and as my preferences are at the moment, I wouldn't bother getting that again. It is, I think it's about €18. I currently have, I've always had oily skin, but now I have a very dry forehead. I don't know, my preferences are just not there anymore. So out of the 2 of these, I would buy this one again, but not this. Okay, so I finished 5 powders this year. Let me just open this. So this is something else I forgot to put in the bloody overview. So for pressed powder, I finished this one here, which is technically a highlighter. It's from Makeup Revolution, and it's in the shade Strobe Highlighter Everglow Lights. And I use this as an overall finishing powder, 7.5 grams in it. I really did not like that at all. It was baked. It was very chalky. I really didn't understand the purpose of it, and so I wouldn't buy that again. But that's the first one. This next one is from Makeup Revolution as well, and I put it in here. It is from the Big Massive 2018 face palette. So this was a pressed powder that a pressed banana powder that I finished in January actually. So I'm pretty happy with that. I finished this in January and I finished this in March. I actually really liked that, even though it wasn't a formula I would be so inclined to use. This I have since repressed something into. So this was the banana shade of the Wet n Wild contouring palette in Dulce de Leche. I finished this in September and I absolutely loved this. This is very poofy and had a lot of kick up, and I know a lot of people don't like that, but I do. And if you could have bought it as a single, I totally would, but I finished that and I would get that again. Then in November, I finished this. This is a loose powder. It's a sample size. I think there's exactly 1 gram in it. It's from Cover FX, and it is in the shade, what is it? It's Perfecting Setting Powder, but it's in the shade Translucent Light. It's just worn off. This I got from Elaine in our swap, and I actually really like this. It's really finely milled. I did not like it under the eye, but I did like it on the rest of my face. It's actually beautiful, and I would get that again. So out of these, I can't get this again. So far we're going 2 and 2. This is Broken Table. And then this one here is from NARS, and I finished this in, when did I finish this? In December. This took me the entire year. This is the translucent, what is it? It's translucent crystal light reflecting pressed, is it? Translucent crystal light reflecting setting powder pressed. There is 0.24 ounces in it, or 7 grams. and I finished this. This is extremely finely milled and is very, very dense. Like, it has zero kick up. It was a really nice finishing type of powder. It didn't increase the longevity of my makeup or anything. It didn't set down from any oils coming out. It did airbrush out the skid. I don't think I'd get that again. It's too expensive. I'm really glad I got to try it. It's not that I'd be against getting it again. There's other things I'd rather use more. I'd rather more of a, if it's just going to be a finishing powder, I'd like it to have a little bit more luminosity to it, like a bit more of a glow. But this, it didn't set my face, if that makes sense. So out of this, I would get rid of 3. I wouldn't repurchase 3, and I would repurchase 2. So that's pretty good going. Okay guys, yet another product I forgot to put in the stupid overhead. I don't know what's wrong with me. I rushed too much. I did not finish this whole palette. I finished 3 bronzing products. So bronzing and contouring. I finished 2 of these Makeup Revolution bronzer palette shades, and I've since repressed the others into, well, frankened them with other things into bigger pans, because this is just slightly too small for what I like to do. But I finished a very, it says here, I finished a dark bronzer in May and a pale bronzer in October from this palette. That's what it says. And then for contouring, I finished this, what is this? This is the Smashbox contouring stick. You can see I bit it trying to get it to, yeah, it won't come out of this now, will it? Oh no, it will. That's it there. I couldn't get that onto my skin because it kind of scratches, but I used that up. I absolutely loved it. It had this kind of grayish tone, and it's discontinued now, so you can't buy it, but 3 sticks came in a pack from Smashbox, and I think it was like 33 euros or something in total. But out of these 2, now this takes you forever to use. Like, I was panning this bronzer, I don't know how people do it so quickly, I'm so slow, panning this for months, and it was showing the rings, but it wasn't finishing. And this is how many grams are in it. 11 grams of, and then 2 of the baked. So 13 grams is in this palette. But I actually would buy those again. I would want to buy this, but I have so much bronzes I don't need to buy that. But I actually love both of these. These are really nice. Even the ones I frankened are beautiful. So I'm really happy with both. So that's kind of funny. I'm going to keep this palette until I finish everything. Okay, so for blush this year, I actually finished up 2. I finished this Tarte blush here in the shade Extraordinary. This mini blush took me 2 years. 2 years. And this blush, I had a blush here also from that Makeup Revolution palette. I actually started and finished that blush this year. So that to me is pretty impressive by my actual standard of usage. But I couldn't believe this one took me so long. I enjoyed this palette. I got this palette from Porrick for Christmas in 2017, I believe. I don't like the highlighters. The highlighters really accentuate texture and they're very gritty, but I really love the blushes. This one was kind of a satin finish. The rest are matte. They're really lovely. I've always wanted this particular type of palette that comes out. It's just they take a long time. I have since decluttered 2 of my single Tarte blushes. Those were all that I had, because I have this, there's plenty. And if I ran out of all of them, I probably would get it again because it is buildable, and I struggle to find a buildable blush. This I wouldn't bother buying again, even though I like the colour. For highlighter, I finished 2 this year. They're both from the Sleek highlighting palette in Solstice, and I hate panned this for like 4 years. I shouldn't have done that. It is the most intense highlighter ever. Like, it's so intense. It's just that I really did not enjoy the formula on my skin. It was just so textured and I really didn't like it. But anyway, I finished the 2 colors down here. It was the orange and the purple is what I finished. There was an awful lot of product in here. A lot of people love this palette. I just did not, and I shouldn't have panned it, but I did. And now it's finished, and I'm so happy about this one. Like, so happy. So for concealers, I actually used up 5. I finished off this Sleek contour palette in the shade Light. Half the palette was bronzers and half the palette was concealer, so I finished all of these shades this year. This, I feel like it must have been gone off, but it was a very putty formula and I would not get it again. It goes very quickly if you do use it, but I didn't like that, so I wouldn't get that again. And then I finished these 2 as well. I really loved this. This is the Collection Lasting Perfection Concealer in the shade Fair 1. This took me the entire year. The stopper is out. I loved it, and I would get this again. And then this is the Maybelline, maybe it's Maybelline, in the shade Light. I have no idea. I feel like it was in the shade Light, but it is, yeah, it was in the shade Light something. I don't know if it was anything else, but I finished this. I actually really enjoyed it, but I can't remember fully how I felt. I remember most of the time liking it. I remember there was the odd few times where it would oxidize, but I think I would get that again anyway, just to see, because I have bought that maybe 3 or 4 times, so there has to be a reason. And so out of this, I would repurchase these two, but not this. Okay, so for setting sprays, I used up 3. There's 2 here, but I'll explain to you. So the Pixie Mist, the Hydrating Milky Mist, this is actually really lovely. These don't increase the longevity of your makeup, but I put them on before makeup, after makeup, when I'm in work with aircon, just a refreshing thing. It's not a necessary step, not that anything is, but I loved using this step. The Hydrating Milky Mist smells a bit like oats or, well, milk, so I wouldn't particularly want to get that one again, but I would want to get the Vitamin C Wake Up one. This rosy one, I don't like the smell of rose. So these are 22 euros each. So this is the Makeup Fixing Mist with rose water and green tea. Not really fond of the smell of this type of one, but I'm keeping the packaging because the third one is one that I made, and it only cost me a couple of cents, but I wanted to include it because I made it out of tea. So I included the price of the tea bag because I bought that set of tea bags for the purposes of makeup and making it into this, and I filled it and used it up and took about a month. So I finished 3 of those mists, and out of the 3 that I've used up, the one I made I will obviously repurchase, and the Wake Up one I'll repurchase. So 2, I suppose, of 3. I finished 1 lipstick bullet this year. It's destroying the place. It is a NYX High Voltage lipstick in the shade, I think it's in the shade Playdate. Yeah, it's in the shade Playdate. I even dug down in, it's a purple pink, and Jessica Lee calls that a pinkle, which I think is brilliant. But it did transfer all over the place. It was such a lovely color. It was lovely and creamy, but I just found it really hard for it not to transfer. But I used it up relatively quickly because it was just so creamy. Would I buy it again? Ugh, I liked no, I wouldn't, because it's too creamy, so it moved all over the place. But I would try their other ones that I have in this color. I loved the color. It was unique. It was just too transfer-ish, you know? But I only finished the 1 bullet, but you'll see why in a moment. For liquid lipstick, I finished 2. So I finished the Sleek Matte Me, look at that look, in the shade Petal. And I really didn't like this. It's a really thin formula, which is great, but it's very dry. Like, it is the definition of a liquid lipstick. The pro is that it's thin, but it's just way too dry. I had to wear it with a lip gloss, and the color was beautiful. Once it's worn with a lip gloss, it's fine, but because of that effort, I wouldn't go to get it again. I would hope that there's a liquid lipstick formula out there that is in fact comfortable. But I hate panned this. How many mils are in it? I think there's 4 mils. Where is it? No, there's 6 mils in it. And I didn't like the formula of that one. And then this one here from NYX. This is the liquid suede in the shade Sandstorm. I've since repurchased this. This is a moussey formula. I've taken the stopper out of both. This is completely gone. And I really like this. Again, it's drying, but not as drying as that. But because I liked the color so much, I did repurchase this one. For lip gloss, I finished 7. So the first one here is a NYX one. It's a NYX Butter Gloss in the shade Meringue. I actually really like the formula of this and the texture of it. It is sticky, but it's not too sticky. I did like it. It's a pigmented gloss though. It's not like transparent by any means. But again, I did pair it over other things, and I would repurchase that. I don't think I will though, because I'm not drawn to, but because of the formula, if I need something, I will repurchase that. This one here, absolutely would not repurchase. This is an Avon red lip gloss. Formula is actually fine. It's just that I just really didn't enjoy it. This is something else I hate panned. I shouldn't have done. I think there's 6 mils in this. It's in the shade Kiss Kiss. Just panning a red lip gloss was really foolish considering I don't wear red lipstick enough. The formula was sticky. It was a bit gloopy, but it was fine, but I wouldn't repurchase. This next one here, I'm only referring to the top side. It is a Bourjois lip gloss, and this was a clear lip gloss. This was actually fine. I actually quite liked this. This whole thing, the color was beautiful, but this liquid lipstick was just disgustingly dry, like way too dry. but it was a really nice colour, which was such a shame because of how dry it was. And that clear lip gloss was actually lovely, but that is, would I repurchase that? No. Then this Aldi one you can't repurchase because it's not there. This is a Lacura lip gloss. This took me forever to finish, like forever. There's 8 mils in it, I think. Yeah, there's 8 mils in it. I take the stopper out of everything. So I took the stopper out of this. I put it in hot water to make it sink. And then I also put a brush down into it. So not only did taking the stopper out increase how long it took to finish, but actually sticking the brush down as well took ages. This is a brown nudie gloss. It was a little bit pigmented, not too pigmented. Loved it, would get it again, but you can't. These 3 are from Huda Beauty. These are minis. This is from their like winter solstice. These were nice, but I wouldn't get them again. They smell like food, like artificial food. So this one is in the shade, I think there's Star-Crossed. Which one do I have in front of me? Oh my God, Star-Crossed. What are the odds? There's only like 2 mils in each of these. This is a milky base with like a gold overlay. Stopper is out of this as well. It is a nice color. This one here is in the shade Hypnotic. And this was like a milk with a pinky purple overlay. Again, it wasn't glittery, but it was a little bit sparkly on the lip. It wasn't too sparkly, but it was sparkly. This one here is actually a really nice color as well. This is in the shade Charmed. Look at that. Isn't it beautiful? It's absolutely lovely. Like, I just don't wear those kind of colors though to go justifying it. But I do like that it comes in a mini because there's like 5 in total, which is what, 10 mils. So the size, you get to try 5 different colors for the same size as one full gloss pretty much. So out of all of these, including what I can repurchase, so I would repurchase 1 out of these. 2 more categories before eyeshadows. I finished 1 lip balm. Why is this so destroyed? Why is it? Oh, I repressed a lipstick into here. As you can see, it did not go well, but I used that as well. Gosh, that was my Franken lipstick that I made. But anyway, I finished this lip balm. This is from Lidl. And I have repurchased this. You get 3 in a set, and I have finished that set. This was the final one of that set, and I've now bought another one, which has 3 in it. So I finished 1 lip balm, which is a lot less than I normally... it's a lot less than I normally finish in a year. A new category this year is nail polish. I finished 2. So this Miracle Gel top coat is from Sally Hansen, and there's 14.7 mils in it. I finished this. I have bought it again because it gives you a glossy, it looks not like gel nails when you use it, but not like gel nails, like shellac. It gives you that weird shine on top that's actually really, really nice. So I really like this, and I have bought it again. This Essence one I finished so far to the start of the year that I don't even remember. I remember, what's the wand? The wand is like a huge thing for me. There's a smell coming out of that now. Yeah. I absolutely hate wands like that. I don't like wands like that, so I would not buy that again. This is in the shade, this is a quick drying polish, belonged to me, so I wouldn't buy that again. So out of the 2, I would repurchase 1. I finished 1 brow pencil. This is from Catrice. There was a spoolie on the end of it. I think it was in the shade Casanova. It had a regular pencil tip. It wasn't a pointy tip. So because of that, it wasn't a micro brow pencil. So because of that, it took me a very long time to finish. I probably would get that again, to be quite honest with you, but I'm happy with pomades at the moment because they take much longer. Again, I'm panning a pomade for 2 years and I'm heading into year 3. So I would get it again, but I haven't. For eyeshadows, I finished 12 this year. So the first one I finished here is from a Makeup Revolution palette. It was a cream shade that I depotted, and I've used it up now, so I'm pretty happy. Depotting for me in this instance actually worked out because I ended up using things more. The next shade I finished is it wasn't a cream shade, it was a transition shade that was almost cream, but it was a cross between a cream and a brown. And this was from the Urban Decay Vice 2 palette. The palette expired, but I managed to use this up beforehand. Then I finished this. This is the Urban Decay Naked palette, the first one, and I finished this palette. There was 6 shades left in it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I finished these this year, and I'm absolutely delighted. I'm probably going to keep this palette anyway for the next while because it feels like such a big deal to me to have an empty palette. This palette I think I got in like 2010. At the very The very oldest it is 2010. I do think maybe it wasn't because I was 18 in 2010. Mum and Dad got it for me as a present, and I mean, this was a massively big deal. This was the only palette that I wore all of the time for a long time, and then I wanted to pan it to finish the rest of it. So that's 6, 7, 8, and then for 12, because I removed things in my inventory, I finished 1, 2, 3 shades from this palette, the Modern Renaissance by ABH, and I finished 1 palette from the ABH Subculture. So just give you a little close-up of these shades. Look at the rust in the pan, like look at the rust. And then I finished this cube shade. So all in all, I finished 12 eyeshadows this year, and then I hit pan in these also because none of these had pan this year. So that is my eyeshadow. Okay guys, so you saw my overview there. So the total amount of makeup I used up this year was 53 products at a value of €409.34. I am so delighted to have that kind of usage considering I was sick for a lot of the year and other obvious things that went on this year. I hit my goal of 50 products, thank God, but just to see it as a whole, that's how much usage and waste I generated. I am looking forward to disposing of all of that and recycling it and getting rid of it and starting again pretty much. It's just so nice to just start again. So anyway, thank you so much for watching guys, and I'll see you the next time. Take care. Bye.